So Dubai, the place hated by so many people and loved by so many others. How has it been like actually living here? And it's been almost a year at this point since I've moved here, so I have a few thoughts and opinions about it. And I know this is a little bit different from my usual videos, but I also know a lot of people nowadays are super interested about, potentially moving here, what it's like here. So I thought it would be worth making a video about it. So hope you guys are going to enjoy and stick around, and let's get right into it. So first I want to go over why I even moved here in the first place. This is something pretty much everybody asked me who know me for a while, and the reason why is relatively simple. It's a couple of things, right? Number one, it's been mainly to grow my businesses and to advance in my career. So there are a lot of benefits when it comes to Dubai for that regard, like not only the good tax structures where you can get away with paying basically a lot less tax than in other countries, but also the network of people, the caliber of people that you can meet and how easily you can meet them. And just in general, also, it's a very optimized and very comfortable environment, right? Like you can get basically anything delivered to you. Everything is convenient. There's a gym, for example, in my building. It's easy to get access to healthy food. It's very convenient if you have the luxury of having a decent salary or you're making decent money. So in that sense, it's pretty easy to just focus in on growing a business, in my opinion. And also, the network and the people kind of just push you as well. And then there's the very helpful tax structure as well. So that's been the main objective for me. And I think that's the same thing for a lot of people as well who end up coming here. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. Obviously, there's also a lot of benefits, a lot of cons to the country outside of that as well, but for me that's been the main reason why I decided to come here. Now I want to talk about the process of actually moving here from Hungary, which is where I'm from originally. It's a smaller country relatively in Europe, and it's been actually very, very smooth. Like I was surprised how easy it was to actually move here from Europe, considering like I've been just so used to how sloppy everything is when it comes to administrative things in Hungary. So when it comes to coming here, it was as simple as basically paying a guy to help me open up the company. All I had to do was submit him my documents and pay the invoices, and that was that. And then after that, I basically sponsored myself with an investor visa, and then I just had to come here once that was approved, take a little medical test, collect my Emirates ID, and that was pretty much it. After that, I could rent an apartment here, get a car, whatever I wanted, right? Even my driver's license, I could just convert here really easily to an Arabic one. It was literally like 20 minutes and I got the Arabic plastic card in 20 minutes. So that was amazing. Like it's been such a smooth process overall in terms of the company creation and getting the visa, and even renting out an apartment was a little bit stressful, but not too bad. So I have nothing but good to say about how smooth the system has been for me. I know there are some other people who haven't had the same experience. Maybe I just got lucky, but it was very simple. And the whole thing, like the whole company creation and getting the visa, took around 1 month. So I think that's pretty impressive. In most countries, it would take quite a lot longer, in my opinion. Now, looking back, has it been a good decision to move here? I would say so, yes, because it has forced me to grow a lot. Obviously, the cost of living here is significantly higher than Hungary, like I would say 5 times more or something like that, 3 to 5 times more. So even that just naturally kind of pushed me to be less lazy and get more stuff done and try to grow the business as much as I can. So I've approximately doubled, or maybe a little bit more, my business in just the last 6 months as well. So that's been definitely good, like considering that's the original reason I came here, to grow and to learn new things, to experience new things. I think in that regard, it definitely helped with that. And also I've met a lot of really amazing people in here. Now, I hear this all the time that people in Dubai are fake and that, it's just a horrible place to be. Everybody here is super surface level, whatever it is. And yeah, I mean, maybe I am that, so that's why I didn't experience that, I don't know. But I feel like I've met a lot of incredible people in here as well. What I like about here, and you probably heard this as well if you watched other videos like this, is that everybody has kind of like a similar mentality, at least who come here for work and for a few years. Everybody's kind of trying to live a better life. Everybody's trying to improve themselves, and they are trying to kind of take responsibility for everything that's in their life, right? So a lot of people here are focusing on their health, are focusing on their nutrition, their business, their relationship. A lot of people are religious here as well. So I feel like not everyone, of course, but if I go down in my street with the apartment buildings, most of the people I meet or who I've talked to in coffee shops even and stuff like that, they are very friendly to me. They are very like driven individuals. If I chat a little bit with them, everybody has something kind of going for them. They are striving towards something. So I really love that, because it's not an environment where people are going to want to push you down, or it's not that like crabs in the bucket mentality that you might experience in a lot of places. It's more like everybody's kind of rooting for each other and trying to support each other, because here we are together, all these expats in the middle of the desert at the end of the day. And it's kind of like, you know, you don't feel excluded, because any other country I've been to in Europe, I always felt like an outsider. Like, yeah, I never really felt like I belonged. But here, because everybody is an outsider, it's kind of like nobody is an outsider. Everybody is accepted, everybody's welcome. So yeah, and obviously I'm not saying like everybody is a super nice person and all of that stuff. Like, there's obviously a ton of scammers here, a ton of people who are doing some shady stuff, like a lot, of course, but I just haven't really got into those circles, I guess. You know, if you find your kind of like tribe, then you can find some really genuine and really amazing people in here who not only care about business and money and all of that stuff, but also just in general, like living a great life and creating amazing experiences and stories. So I personally had a great experience in that regard as well. Now, I want to go over the pros that I've experienced and also some of the cons or downsides that I've experienced. And then after that, kind of get into a conclusion overall about the whole place. So the first pro that I actually really appreciate is the safety. So just the fact that you can go out at night pretty much in every area and you don't really have to worry. Or even like yesterday, I thought I left my phone somewhere. I didn't even cross my mind that somebody's going to steal it. These are great luxuries. Like, safety and the feeling of safety is, I think, the biggest luxury of all, because even though Hungary is also a pretty low crime country, and luckily I have never had anything really bad happen to me there, but if you go out at night alone in Budapest, for example, you are not going to feel super safe. Maybe unless you are like a big jacked boxer dude. Like, yeah, then probably nobody's going to mess with you, but you never know, right? Like, you always have that thought in the back of your mind. Or even if you left your door open for a day because you forgot to close it, it's going to be in the back of your mind the whole day. Like, I really hope nobody robs me or something like that. Maybe I'm just paranoid, but that's how I feel. And here it's obviously you shouldn't be an idiot. Like, I still close my door. I still don't leave a stack of cash or my wallet in random places. But it's very unlikely that, you know, anybody is going to touch your stuff or anybody is going to attack you or anything like that. I've heard some really bad stories. So like, obviously you shouldn't be an idiot and just be absolutely careless, but the safety aspect of it is kind of like how they say it is. It feels very safe. Even for my girlfriend, she feels very safe as well. So that's something I really appreciate, and something that I think is super valuable, basically. Then the second pro and positive thing is the convenience and the services that are available here. So obviously this is something that comes at a cost. So I understand why a lot of people are upset about these things. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, you can get pretty much anything in a super convenient manner. Even a haircut, you can get someone to come to your house and cut your hair there. Or your groceries, you can get it delivered super quickly, and it's going to be high quality stuff. Or not even just groceries, like anything, you can get it delivered. You can get a taxi very easily. I mean, like, I know these are all things, yeah, you can get a taxi in any city as well, but it's just the speed of these services, and also generally speaking, the quality of them are really high quality. Even just renting a car is super easy, or if you need to fuel your car for the same price as the gas station gas, you can literally get a little delivery guy to come with the gas delivery car, and then they will fuel your car in your parking lot at no extra cost. Like, it's just super convenient. And so if you are someone who's like an entrepreneur, maybe you're trying to optimize your time and really just put all your focus and energy into those things that really matter for you and really push your business forward, it's amazing for that. Then the next pro is going to be the environmental exposure to success, I guess you could say. I mean, for me, just even being like, for example, I live in a place called MR Beachfront, and behind me is the Palm Jumeirah, which is, you know, one of the biggest man-made islands or whatever, it says something like that. And it's just inspiring, in my opinion, to see like what we are capable of, what can be achieved. And the same thing with cars. Like here, even if I go down into my building and the parking lot, there is just infinite amount of insane cars, like cars that would be, you know, photographed in my home country. And when you see so much of that abundance around you, it almost kind of makes it normalized for you, which I don't think it's good in like an out of touch way, but in some sense you have to feel like it's something that's within reach for you as well, and that if you're working really hard you could get it as well, because otherwise, you know, if you're hopeless, then it's going to be tough to ever get there. So yeah, that's been another thing that I found helpful, just the fact that there's so much abundance here and you can experience that, you can see it, and then you can realize that, okay, I might not get that big a house or whatever it is, but I could at least get closer to it because so many people has done it, you know. The next pro is going to be obviously the low tax. So that goes without saying, 0% income tax, 0% you know, capital gains, and they have now 9% corporate tax over 100k profits. But even that you can get alleviated up to like 2 million dirhams, which is whatever, 700k a year revenue. But yeah, even 9%, it's like nothing, right? So that obviously comes in very handy if what you are paying, let's say 40-50% in your country, just coming here literally is like you just double your salary. You're no longer working half of the year for just the government to spend your money on a lot of bullshit stuff as well that you might not even support and stand behind. Then the next pro is, again, just in general, like the kind of mindset I've experienced around me. Again, most people when I go down to the coffee shop are positive. Not only the people who work there, but also just the people who come there as guests, right? And a lot of people also come here for vacation, so everybody's in like a great mood. And I feel like if everybody's super miserable around you, that for me, that really affects my mood as well. So I love the fact that, of course, not everybody's happy 24/7. Like, it's a hard life, you know, like there's a lot of difficulty obviously in people's everyday lives, especially here as well. But regardless, people seem to carry it a lot better. And people, yeah, just tend to have a positive attitude towards things, more at least than in my home country. And that's something I really appreciate, just seeing, you know, everybody like at least trying their best, even if they don't have the best job in the world or they're not, you know, like exactly where they want to be, but they're grateful for what they do have. All right, then next positive for me has been just sunshine and having the beach here. So I've never lived near a beach at all. Like in Hungary, we don't have a beach. We just have a big lake, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's not like an actual beach. So that's been great. Like every day having sunshine every day, yeah, just sunshine, and it being warm is definitely something that I do feel like affects my mood. When it's super dark outside and also the sun goes down super early, it comes up super late in the winters, I don't know, I mean, a lot of people say this, but I just don't feel as good. I literally feel this like seasonal depression type of thing. So I feel like here it's a little bit of a life hack, because in the winter you don't get that big dip in your mood and your performance. The next pro I really liked is how many options there are for products and groceries. So that's something I'm not used to. I'm not used to being able to get whatever type of meat I want to buy, let's say, or whatever type of veggies or fruits or whatever it is. So that's another amazing thing, the fact that everything is available. Obviously, it comes at a cost, like it is expensive because a lot of stuff is imported here. But in general, from what I can tell, it seems like you can get really high quality ingredients, for example, here very easily. Another thing I really like is that there are a lot of activities you can do. Like you could go even just surfing, whatever, cycling, pretty much anything outside of obviously the summer months where you don't really want to go outside. But you know, there's always something happening. One of my friends is always doing an activity. Maybe I get invited for paddle or, you know, running or whatever it is, going for a swim. So I really like that. There is quite a lot to do. And obviously, once you've done all of them, it can get a bit boring. But regardless, it's generally speaking more options, more activities that you could do than in most other places. Then the next thing I really liked again is the network, just the type of people that you can meet here. It's been amazing. Another pro for me has been the airport and the amount of direct flights available from here. It's actually great. Like pretty much almost anywhere you can fly with a direct flight here. And also the airport experience is just way smoother than in most other airports I've been to. It's very nice, it's very fast, very automated, very clean. And yeah, that's another thing as well, is like in general everything is pretty clean. The streets are kept very nice. The malls are kept very clean, so that's something I do appreciate as well. And just also overall how kind of like futuristic and impressive this architecture is. Obviously, I know I'm gonna get some roast in the comments like, bro, Dubai has no culture. Have you been to Barcelona or Italy? Like, yeah, I have been to those places, and obviously you cannot compare the two. One of them was built over the last 40 years and the other one has been there for thousands of years. So I don't look at Dubai as it being impressive in the same way as the Colosseum is. Like, obviously one is a historical building, but just the fact that they built entirety of Dubai in just a few decades is actually mind-blowing. Like, it's, in my opinion, just as impressive as you know, some of those other historical buildings. And yeah, it's a different kind of beauty, you know, the way I see it. So I find it impressive, and I feel like I'm just in GTA anytime I go out for a drive at night. So to me, that's pretty fun as well. Now let's go into some of the cons, or some of the things I personally didn't really like about my stay here, or just overall the environment here. So one of the cons I really don't like is how poorly some of the employees and workers are treated here. And, you know, they work a lot of hours, pretty low wages, and it's just in general, like, you know, I mean, it makes you feel grateful if you don't have to do that. I really feel for them. Like, it's hard to see, it's bad, and I really hope there is going to be like more regulations coming around that, and it's going to be better. Obviously, if you look at it from the perspective of like in every city, right, there are very low wage workers, and it's really tough to survive in a big city for everyone. So obviously a lot of the workers here come from other countries and they come at their own will, and it's still better than what they have at home. So it's, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I just wish like everybody treated everybody with more respect here. That would be really great to see, and just in general try to provide better living conditions for everyone. Another con, which is kind of also a pro in the same sense, is that this is a very competitive place. So it's easy to feel kind of like you are always behind, there's someone always doing better than you, and get into this like anxious state. But it can also push you and motivate you in the same sense as well. So whether you like competition or not, this might be a pro or a con for you. Sometimes it can get a bit too much. The pace of life is super fast here. Also, time passes by really quickly. Like 1 year feels like 3 months here, in my opinion, because for me at least, every day is kind of the same, or even if we go out something, everything just happens so quickly. So it's a bit easy to get wrapped up in this like fast life and everything, and the competition and everything happening so quickly. Another con is that obviously a lot of people are very materialistic here, and it's important that you find a good group of friends, as I've kind of previously mentioned before, who don't only care about that. Because yeah, I mean, look, like financial success, stability, all of that is important, but at the end of the day, if that's the only thing somebody can talk about, it gets boring, right? So a lot of people are like that here. So I have met a good amount of people where I just didn't really talk to them afterwards, but that's totally fine. And it's kind of the same everywhere, but obviously this is an environment that attracts those people even more. So you really have to kind of find your circles and those people you can really vibe with. Now, the next con is that it is relatively expensive. Obviously, if you compare it to London, LA, New York, any of the big cities, then it's kind of comparable, or sometimes even cheaper. But you know, if you're not from a major city, it's going to be expensive, especially as a couple. Like, just the difference between a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom apartment in a nice area is pretty huge. It's almost like double. So yeah, like, just be prepared for that. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend coming here if you're not at least semi-established yet as a business owner. A lot of people come here because they think it's the land of opportunity or whatever, but I think it's very difficult to make it here, to be honest, if you're just starting out, because of the cost of living, because of the competition here and everything. So I think this is a great place to be once you already have kind of established yourself and you already have something going for you, and then taking it to the next level. But coming here to build from scratch, I don't know if I would have the balls to do that. Then the next kind of con, or it just is what it is, right, is July, August, and September are pretty brutal with the heat and the humidity. Right now it's August 4th, so it's actually kind of one of the hardest months in terms of the hotness and humidity. And most people who work online or who can do it, they don't really spend the summer here. And I don't really either, to be honest. I've been away for 2 months and I'm going to go back for another month next week. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that, I mean, you can get used to it. And a lot of people just live here the entire year and they get used to it kind of, or they can bear it. But you got to be aware of the fact that, you know, it is a bit uncomfortable, like the level of heat and the level of humidity that there is here in the summer months. But in the winter, it's absolutely incredible, like perfect weather. Another thing I don't like is the level of air pollution. So if you have seen any of those air quality index maps, bro, Dubai is horrible. The air quality is in the winter months it's a lot better, but it's still not good. And in the summer months it's absolutely horrendous. It oftentimes goes up to 300 on the air quality index. So yeah, that is just something where you just find yourself locked in for very long periods of times in the apartment because of how bad the air is. Like you can literally, for example, now if you go out for an hour, you can feel it in your lungs. And also, you know, it is a bit of a sacrifice that you make, because you are technically, like, if you look at it objectively, you're kind of trading off health for whatever it is that you are chasing, right? So it's definitely not something like I could necessarily see myself doing probably for the entirety of my life, but it is just something I wanted to point out. If you know, if you have like asthma or something, like respiratory problems or whatever, like you might want to look into it a little bit more, because it is pretty bad, the air quality. And then the next one is just noise and construction. So for example, even next to my building, they are building 2 more towers. And for example, a few months ago, they've been drilling all evening long, so you have to use earplugs if you want to sleep well. Obviously there are quiet areas, so I just live in like a new area, so obviously there is construction here, and obviously it's kind of like just me complaining, because how else would they build a city this quickly if they didn't have a lot of construction? It just comes with it. But at the end of the day, if you are someone who is just used to living in the countryside or something, and you always go out to the forest and you have peace and quiet, you might not enjoy it that much here. And that is another thing, right? The lack of kind of that more natural nature. I mean, here you have desert and you have the palm trees that they plant and the grass they water, but you obviously won't find too many of those forests. So I think I'm fine with it, because I have luxury of being able to go out every few months if I want to, and go to some of those places where I can get recharged with nature. But being here the entire year would be pretty tough, because I definitely feel after a few months I'm starting to want a little bit more nature, see some mountains, a lot of greenery, right? That is definitely not something you're going to get here. So it depends on you whether you want to make that kind of trade or not. And then last but not least, the last thing I didn't really like or enjoy here is the payment processing and the banking here. So if you run a business, you obviously have to process payments somehow. And for example, Stripe and also a lot of other payment processors decline a lot of credit cards. For a lot of credit cards outside of the UAE, they decline the payments coming to your business because of the fact that it's in the UAE. So it is just a headache that you have to deal with. And there are different corporate structures you can set up to go around it, but it's always messy. So it's been of a pain in the ass, like banking and payment processing in here. So if you run a business, you want to look into that before you just move everything here, because if you don't go about it like in a smart way, you might kind of get screwed and lose out on a lot of revenue because of the fact that a lot of countries decline payments coming to here. And another extra point I wanted to kind of just touch on a little bit is that Dubai is not as strict as you might imagine it to be. It's kind of an outsider in the UAE in the sense that it's like the party city or whatever you want to call it. The regulations and everything is a lot less strict here than outside of it. Obviously you want to not be an idiot, you want to respect the culture, you want to respect all the rules, but it's not like, you know, you will just be put in jail for literally anything. Like, yeah, don't be an idiot, like I think that goes without saying, but if you live like a normal, reasonable human being, you will not really get into any troubles with the law from my experience. So overall conclusions, overall thoughts, I'm very grateful I have been able to spend, you know, this time here. I think I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot as a person, as an entrepreneur here. And, you know, I think right now there isn't that many, you know, way better places for young entrepreneurs who are trying to grow in their career and in other aspects of their life as well. I think for that, it's a very great growth-oriented place. However, you will probably want to be traveling throughout the year and just not spend your entire year here if you can make that happen. So anyways, I really hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you found my experience interesting in some sense. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about or cover. Normally in this channel, I just talk about, video editing, making money as an editor, starting a creative agency. So I know that this was a bit of a different one, but a lot of people asked me about this. So I thought some of you might find this interesting. So again, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.